On a cold, foggy night, a weary traveler found himself on a desolate road, seeking a shortcut to avoid the long highway ahead. The faint glow of his headlights barely cut through the dense mist. His GPS had long since stopped working, leaving him to navigate by the faint road signs and his instincts. As he passed an ancient cemetery, a strange unease settled over him. The weathered tombstones, half buried in overgrown ivy, gave the place an eerie aura. He quickly glanced in his rearview mirror, and his stomach lurched. A figure stood among the gravestones, pale, dressed in a tattered white gown. Her long hair seemed to flow in the windless night, and her hollow eyes fixed on him. His heart raced as he looked away, trying to convince himself it was just a trick of the light. But the image remained etched in his mind. He sped up, eager to put distance between himself and the unsettling sight. Minutes later, his car sputtered and came to a sudden halt. He cursed under his breath, trying the ignition repeatedly, but it wouldn't start. The road was silent, save for the eerie hum of the fog pressing in. His phone had no signal. Desperate, he stepped out into the freezing air, his breath visible in the night. As he scanned the dark road for any sign of help, he heard it, soft, measured footsteps crunching on the gravel. His pulse quickened, and he turned around to see the same pale figure approaching him, her face gaunt, her eyes hollow. The hem of her tattered dress dragged behind her as she moved with unnatural grace. She stopped just in front of him and whispered in a raspy voice, "You shouldn't have looked back." Thomas froze. His body refused to move as the woman raised a skeletal hand toward him. Her fingers closed around his wrist with an unnatural strength. He struggled, but her grip tightened, pulling him toward the ground. The earth beneath his feet trembled as if opening to swallow him whole. Her eyes locked onto his, and a terrible wail erupted from her mouth, a sound so chilling it made his blood run cold. In a flash, the ground gave way, and Thomas was pulled into the earth. The last thing he saw was her face, still staring at him, as darkness closed in around him. The next morning, a search party found his car, still stalled on the side of the road. There was no sign of Thomas, only a faint trail of footprints leading to the cemetery. Among the gravestones, a new name had been carved into one: Thomas Gray. The fog never lifted, and the cemetery remained undisturbed, waiting for the next lost soul to wander too close.